Greetings. Welcome to Of Darkness and Light. My name is Echo Augustine. I want to talk about a principle of living that I think is important to recognize this day and age as we navigate culture that kind of pushes us towards demonizing each other and understanding each other in ways that are less than complete and more of mental degradation and stigmatization and putting people into boxes and making presumptions based off of projection and being callous. And it's a reorientation that I think is very important in terms of, we talk about self-talk, right? That's something that's very important. People say, you keep your self-talk positive. You keep yourself hyped inside properly because you want to manifest in the right direction. You don't want to be speaking to your subconscious in a way that is demeaning of yourself, right? Whatever you do externally, internally, towards a parent, you are perpetrating on their child. When I think about my interactions with parents, there are only a couple who were actively raising children. Two women that I ever lashed out at during my executive dysfunction. And so my executive dysfunction is a part of my schizophrenic unbecoming. It's basically what happens when you get caught in the spiral of a traditional Salem-like witch, heading straight for the stake of society by being of an unseen class of genius, who is also a traumatized schizophrenic, who is caught in automatic spite responses from their body's intelligence, filtered through all of their trauma, very, very, very frustrated by how inside they feel like they're a crying child who needs help and hugs and compassion. And so I watch myself do these things that are beyond myself. And I in the past, I would go too far, right? I'm gonna flip something off just to kill a hum that you probably won't even hear. And that was for me. So there are two people who had children, and when I was caught in my schizophrenic unbecoming, had treated me in a way that was insulting enough for me to throw down on them, basically, with my schizophrenic executive dysfunction. It was about Trump supporters right after the election. I was having a lot of anxiety. I was having a lot of worry about my place in society right after Trump got elected. I was feeling very lonely because I had just suffered abuse and was alone and was kind of in the midst of my manic schizophrenic unbecoming, and Donald Trump gets elected and I'm not doing well. And I say something online like, if you elected this person, you ignored the fact that he's trying to take my healthcare away. He like openly did a statement, however much you believed it or not. In it, he said he's going to try and take away trans adult healthcare from everyone. And I'm telling you, that's if I lost my trans healthcare, my hormone medicine, I would be in the darkest place. It would be the hardest, I cannot imagine facing that. I won't. Period. And so it's like, you're choosing to kill me if you're choosing to take away my medicine. I wouldn't survive. It's the most dishonorable thing in the world to try and put somebody back into a place that they were tortured through for the first 34 years of their life after getting a few years, and then kind of being tortured schizophrenic by society for doing it after just looking for a place to love with a whole heart and some community that might see you as you are instead of a projection of their expectations of your sex. And so I'm saying stuff onto the internet and they like unfriend me. I went at one of them straight up because it was really hurtful to me that they made their comment and ducked out of my life because they were so ashamed about the choice they made and couldn't face how it was directly affecting my livelihood. Went hard at them, right? One of their friends stuck up for them. Went hard at them too because they were gaslighting me. They were trying to give me a cognitive dissonance, female fuck zone speech about how as long as I shut the fuck up and respected their opinion and got in line, we were good. And it was about COVID. It was about the forced vaccination. I'm like, dude, I agree with you on that. I don't think we should force people to take vaccinations, period. Can we admit that that is not a problem that overshadows someone that you have said that you like love as a human being? You voting for them to be detransitioned, literally? Do you think that that's a choice that you feel good about in your heart? And so I went hard at them because I was schizophrenic and I was caught in executive dysfunction. But when I look back and I go back over all the times that I said stuff to people, the one time that I feel the very worst is when I said something that was completely undeserved to someone who had children. It was a beautiful angel of a woman, and the only person who reached back out to me after I said most despicably awful things and had apologized and told him, hey, I'm schizophrenic, I'm sorry, I didn't know, and it was the worst thing to be going through that, and I'm really sorry that I said those things. They said, you don't need to apologize to me ever. And that's the only person who got it right. That's the only person who responded correctly to a schizophrenic person saying, I'm sorry. So one person. Go figure, it's a mom. It's a beautiful mom of 2 daughters. Why did I feel bad about going at her so hard when I went at a bunch of people that didn't deserve it? Well, one, obviously, they have the brightest beaming heart. 2, I said stuff that was completely uncalled for when they reached out trying to help me, but just kind of like triggered me by trying to inform from a place of non-informity about basically like, you need to steer yourself away from this psychotic obsession, right? Of like, it was just another one of those things that just kept happening because all of my communications with what was going on with me included everything. I was conflating everything, and I kept including how I needed a hug from somebody who messed my heart up. And everybody was just like, we don't do that. That's clearly psychotic, obsessive behavior. You need to let go. You need to take your power back. Schizophrenic person who is losing their life and wants a hug from somebody they love before they go. And that's the thing, is like, I'm Daphne is in me dying. There's an ego mindset that is gonna be around for a while. I still have some fear, but there's a hug that I seek, which would initiate kind of like a releasing cry that will let that fear let go. And then a period of time will pass where the construct of the person that I once was will be able to let go. And so that's where a lot of my dysfunction is that I'm still holding on to some of me that's not really a part of my body's completeness of intelligence. There's a part of me in my rational mind still traumatized that's holding on because it's a construction of who I was. And that person in there really wants to see somebody before they're totally gone. But they're mostly gone. They're not in control, right? I speak from my heart. I speak from my body. I walk through the world like this. I operate from my subconscious. If you watch and you see all the little synchronicities that happen, I never plan anything. I never set up my heater anyway. I never set up my computer anyway. I just sit down and do these when it's time. I'm just flowing. And that's my whole life. And it's really beautiful, but it's kind of sad because that takes away the construction of who we once were, right? And the construction of who Daphne was a very sorrowful, longing, kindest human woman who never got held like a woman, right? And she loves everybody. She's too kind. Because who I'm becoming is someone of reflective body intelligence that shines out what the world deserves. And that's the difference between where I was and where I am now. So I would never send that message to anybody like my angel friend who told me I never needed to apologize. I would never do that again. I still lash out. I still say mean things, but it's specifically to people that deserve it now, on the keel that they deserve it. I was still going overboard within the last week and then having to do course corrections. So living as a schizophrenic is about balancing your feather. Every day is a challenge. Each choice is a shift. And that's why I've been like, I'm so out of balance with my feather because I'm doing everything honorably, looking for help that I need, and there's not one person that'll help me. And so I'm feeling it's like a negative balance. You can't just be a good person, not when nobody deserves it. So you got to be maliciously outlashing sometimes as a schizophrenic person to live in rightness with your body. And that's what I'm saying is there is a fundamental problem with the world where it's like, we let people that deserve to be killed for the things they've done go to jail for a few years and come out and walk around because we can't figure out how to trust anything, including the fact that we know they did it. And it's like, there are lots of people who go to jail that don't deserve it. And it's like police corruption. It's just laziness. It's a whole bunch of horseshit. That's the most inhumane thing in the world, to put somebody in prison for something they didn't do. It's the most inhumane thing in the world to put somebody in prison that doesn't deserve it or is disabled. And it's really, really, really horrendous that any and all of these things happen to parents. And people sit back, and this is the kind of stuff that's been happening. If you've been following, you know what happened to me, right? I lost my daughter. I lost my daughter because of my schizophrenia, which was undiagnosed, despite my trials towards diagnosis, and then eventual acceptance of the culture within psychology that was teaching me to not get it diagnosed and to find a way to mask and move forward without embracing the stigma of the word schizophrenia. So, I'm having a really rough time. And I beg you to consider how you think about me. And I want you to think about the reflection through me to my child. By the way that the words you use about me in your head reflect into your actions. Yes, you might not see me in person, but your reflections then shine out into the world around you. If you understand who I am, if you're following me, and if you are negatively self-talking me, and then you're going out into the world, your actions are going to be a reflection of exactly what you're telling yourself, even if it's Daphne Garrido is a stupid retard. And I'm telling you right now, if you're saying that in your head, you're cursing yourself right now, because I'm a very intelligent person, very, very intelligent person, and your body knows that you're lying to yourself, and it's going to curse you for cursing yourself. So stop saying that. If you are paying attention and you are somebody who has been openly cruel and malicious towards me with your intents and your actions, and targeted and punishing and believing me some perpetrator on you through some kind of projection, if you've done those things, you have directly done those things to my daughter, because you've taken me from my daughter. And my unbecoming mentally, my mental logic center id death was something that I strode towards, in a sense, via my spiritual journey, but then became a societally enforced mental degradation, emotional infidelization, while screaming for somebody to help it stop by just like being nice to me and like being my friend and like helping me get help. And it's led to this point where I've become of my body's intelligence channel to hold me through what's going on inside, which I'm still suffering emotionally. I'm just a warrior of forged steel heart that can feel the pain and can ride it and can face everything. It's like I can face everything. I know people are doing terrible stuff to me in their heads. I know people are telling lies about me. I know people that I need help from are doing really awful things to themselves and ignoring the truth. It's horrendous, right? It's like, I want to talk about something. There's probably something you might have thought about if you are a viewer and you've seen what I've been speaking about, especially lately. And you've seen Black Mirror, the underground episode with the treadmills and the merits, and it's like, hey, wow, I'm really doing that one, aren't I? Yeah, except for I'm not just placating the system. I was before, but poorly, by just being the system's reject that people could laugh at. Now, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Sure, yeah, but I'm actually, it's gonna work. Bet. Like, I'm not stopping at doing oration online to a small few that will grow. I'm gonna go do comedy in Seattle. I'm gonna get a stage booked, and I'm gonna take all my PlayStation games and I'm gonna dump them on the stage. That's my set every time. I draw PlayStation 3 games like tarot cards, and then I'm just gonna roast the audience for my DNA intelligence, and I'm gonna have absolutely no qualms about my stutters or whatever. It's like I've been practicing comedy here. Congratulations for watching the future of comedy. Thanks for torturing me to death. So I have malicious intent baked into my persona now, because I know I have to fuck the world back for fucking me to death. Congrats. Guess what? My daughter loved my former mental embodiment of id. Loved her. That was one of my daughter's favorite people, because she was the kindest, beautifully sorrowful, hopefully resilient, heart and soul fighter who is the saddest. Who loved people so much despite, but didn't hold it as well as I do. How people don't love her back. And I hold it with my feather by doing what I'll do on stage as a comedian, which is consciously, maliciously holding intents of using my hyper body intelligence to wreck people's faulty ideologies from the inside out, effortlessly, laughing in their face, helping them enjoy it with me, unless they are that one ultimate dipshit who's going to ride the contrarianism, no matter how appropriately presentable it is, about my rightness, into being a completely defunct, catatonic, brain dead retard. Female or male, that person is living in complete lie of upside down and will death grip it to the end. And these are the people that have killed me out of existence, because the death grip is deepest down. They wants it and don't wants it. In terms of my trans femininity, these are probably proposedly bisexual women who are cisgendered and hetero, that are in lesbian relationships, that feel very triggered by the fact that I have uncovered the mythology of Eden, which actually, so get this. I'm like, yo, Lilith loves Sammy, dude. Eve's with Adam. Eve's the problem, right? Yeah, if she's pretending to be Sammy or Lilith. Sammy's the problem if they're pretending to be Eve. Everybody's the problem if they're pretending to be Lilith. If you think this is stupid, if you think mythologizing the Garden of Eden and unpacking the myth backwards through time and how that might have propagated into all of our storytelling and myth making and myth weaving and interpersonal societal construction and social hierarchies, I beg you to grow up in your mind and heart, because you're wrong. You got to be who you are. And the worst people in the world are the people who are exactly the opposite of who they want to be, and refuse to see it when you get to the end of the rope, when it becomes clear that you've been wrong. And if you make that triple down at that point, there's nothing you can do to curse your life worse from your subconscious. So that's what's up. And I appreciate you all for watching. And I beg you to not speak negatively about parents in your mind. I beg you to not speak negatively about me in your mind, because then your actions radiating into the world are going to be transmisogynistic, and that's going to be a problem for me, because that energy has already been a problem for me. Even when I went back to those two women who were women that ignored me during my schizophrenic fallout, before I did the stuff online, as I was reaching out for help when I was abused by my ex, and totally gaslit me about like, hey, one of them even said like, some women smack their kids, okay? Like, what did they do? Was it hard? It was like, I'm surrounded by evil females who hate me because they don't want femininity, but they own it. They don't want manhood, but they own it. They don't want anything except for, actually, yes, they do. Deep down, you know what they want? They want a cisgendered man. Those are the worst women in the world to me. The people who are really biologically into cisgendered men, but are like confused and not sure if they're a boy or a girl, and in lesbian relationships because culture says it's cool. They're like incels, but the opposite. They're like voluntarily incelibate, and destroying trans women. Let's talk about what incels are. Incels get the misandry treatment to the highest order, and they don't accept that they're gay men, and so they spend their life going after cisgendered women who have really, really cruel expectations of double standard regarding, like, hey, you need to be this perfect, gorgeous, masculine person, or just like the cutest boy in the world to me. And yeah, we're not going to have any empathy for the fact that cultural foundations are kind of like raping young men into bad people by the complete spite responses, their treatment from women and from family is bearing into the world. You can't raise somebody with boys don't cry and then blame them for being an asshole. Nobody says that anymore, or you're wrong. And so regardless of how you agree or disagree with my innate femininity, I'm a parent, and I'm a great parent. I'm a world-class parent because I read The Awakened Family, and I knew this is it. This is how you parent. This is hard. You got to be kind of a guru. You got to let it go. And yeah, the worst people in the world are not only the confused women who are with cisgendered men, want to be and hate them, and are confused and wish they like did sexual exploration to realize that they're exactly where they want to be, but then they're in a gendered relationship that doesn't fit them, and then they see me being gendered and they're like, gender's a completely false construction. You're just reflecting all this stuff that your sex was trying to thrust onto me. And I'm like, dude, I didn't try and thrust anything onto anybody. Get the fuck off of it. I'm a person who was born into this world and has been doing their best and been facing stigmatization that makes me impossible to receive the one thing I want the most. It's impossible for me to receive the one thing I want the most. Affection, loving affection towards a lady. Like, I just don't get it. I just never got it. And then I died mentally because the one person who gave it to me, it was sweet to me in other ways as well, and actually like made me feel like a friend as a woman, one person. They did me the worst, and then they let me like die mentally, crying to get a hug from them and help because I was surrounded by bigots, and they probably think the same stuff, negative stuff about me. And guess what? My daughter was tortured watching my mind die. And it's not me that did that to her. It's not me that did that to her. So if you're somebody out there that's like, how dare you do that to your child? I was begging for help the whole time. It's the most insulting idea I can ever even think of. So I'm just going to release this fight about it because that doesn't seem to work. Because people are such contrarians that when you speak from real emotion of anger that is justified, it's a lockdown spite response of nuh-uh. So let me just tell it to you straight. It wasn't me that emotionally tortured my daughter as I was killed mentally. Probably didn't even mentally know what was happening herself. It was a feeling. And that's when it ended. That's when I had attempted to get help properly by raising the white flag and telling my ex, I need to give up custody. My stress is getting too high. I'm not able to focus. I saw my daughter look at me sad because they emotionally parented me. There was one day where they brought up water to me and they're like, you need water. And I was just like, I cannot handle this. And so that was a very quick period of time. There were weeks where it was like I was recognizing the signs, and then there was once where I saw her standing up on that chair arm and I hadn't been paying attention for like a whole minute. And I was just like, no. I just missed her standing on the chair arm like a sketch mode. And there's that table with the edge. And she tried to do that all the time, but there's never been a time where I wasn't on it. And I was just like, nope, okay. I gotta give up my daughter. And yeah, if you've been out there refusing to help me, if you've been out there projecting at me, you've been projecting at my daughter. And if you've been a part of my unbecoming, you are doing that to my daughter. And still, if you are thinking negatively about me, you're doing that to my daughter through the actions you radiate into the world. And what that's going to do to the future, because I'm going to tell you something honestly. I believe my daughter's going to love someone like me. And I would never put that on her. I would never put that expectation on her. It feels like a fact of the heart from the way our love was most precious, that she will understand what she's looking for from feeling. And that's somebody who's got a biggest, bravest heart, who's a courageous lover despite the fact that the world treats them poorly. And I think they're going to look for that feeling because it's the best feeling when you can love somebody who deserves it most. And I think from her perspective, she will know what class of person that is and also be beyond stigma. And also, just want to do right for the future for her mama by making a good example of what people can do when they stand beside trans women.